All right, so we're making a podcast? No? You're shaking your head no? This is our trailer.
That's why it's not working.
This is our trailer. We're making it right now.
That doesn't work. You're supposed to introduce yourself on the trailer.
This is a funny trailer.
Is
Because
it?
we're funny.
Are we?
Not really.
Okay.
So hi, my name is Francesco,
Hey, I'm Jennifer.
and we're making a trailer for our podcast. What are we going to talk about?
Sailing.
Sailing?
And our adventures.
Our adventures?
Yes.
Sailing and our adventures. So we hope to entertain you, educate you,
Definitely amuse you.
will amuse you, we hope.
Here
All
goes
right.
nothing.
Here goes nothing. Woohoo! Join us. Hello and welcome to Sailing Prima BarcaVela podcasting. Prima BarcaVela stands for First Sailboat in Italian, because we are kind of new to this. And we got our first sailboat a few years ago. Our goal is to meet and talk to as many people as possible who are outliving their dream and ours of cruising the oceans and exploring the world. We hope to get out there as soon as possible. In this week's episode, we have a talk with Grant and Noel of Sailing Mundial. That stands for something in Portuguese. You're just going to have to tune in to find out. They talk about it. We talk about it. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, they're an amazing couple sailing down the west coast of Americas with aspirations to cross the Pacific with their two adorable fur babies. Currently, they're somewhere near Baja, Mexico, and they're living their best life, catching yellowfin tuna and waves as they surf their way down the coast. They are in a 1980 Downeaster 38-foot cutter made in Southern California, but of Taiwanese design. Give this one a listen. It's a really good one, y'all. We'll have the video up as soon as possible on YouTube to accompany this. Please subscribe and follow for more info, and also head over to Patreon if you want to support us to make more shows like this. You can find us at sailingpb.com or Sailing Prima BarcaVela on all the socials. Looking forward to doing more of these. This is really fun, and let's get on with this already. Give it a listen. Thanks, y'all. Hello, hello.
Hello?
Hey, all right.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
This is great. Yay, this worked.
Yay. Can you hear us? We're using my iPhone.
I hear you. I hear you perfectly. This is actually great. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Try to get this all sorted.
I've already started the recording, just FYI, just to make sure we don't
Okay.
super valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to meet you guys. I was looking through like your Instagram and your YouTube a little bit, and wow, you guys
cool.
had some fun.
Yeah, you could say
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You just caught like a yellowfin tuna. How cool is that? That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was our first fish of the trip, which was like
Yeah.
in my mind I thought for sure it was just going to be a bonita, which is still a good fish, but like to come upon a yellowfin right away as our first fish in Mexico was
I mean, that's
pretty rad.
That's so
Yeah.
epic. So how'd you make it? Did you do sashimi? Did you do sushi?
What did we do?
Sashimi, I think was
Yeah,
the
we
first.
did sashimi right away. He didn't make me, but he encouraged me to take a bite of the heart. Because apparently you have to do that for your first tuna.
I love it.
It was so gross.
That
But
reminds me of like, did you guys ever see the original Red Dawn movie? That reminds me of the Red Dawn movie where they got the deer and they had to drink the blood. It was like really disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Very disturbing.
Yeah.
So
it was-
cool,
it-
so cool.
it was
Well,
like that.
anyway, this is great that you were able to join. I'm really happy to meet you. Jennifer's not participating. She had to run to work. We're still land-based, and she's a cardiac ultrasound technician, and
Oh,
wow.
they are being buried right now at the hospital. So she's like, I'm going to go in and help them. They need some help right now. So I'm sorry Jennifer's not here, but she really wanted to meet you as well. She's loving you guys as well.
Okay.
We'll definitely connect again. I'm sure that's how the sailing community goes. We'll all come back around to each other eventually, I'm sure. So,
Aw.
but I wanted to just,
Well-
let's kind of like go through like,
Yes.
introductions, and then
Yeah.
we can go into like, where you're from, how you got into sailing, all that stuff. I'll start. My name is Francesco. Jennifer is my other half. We started sailing years ago, like 2017, not too long ago, but we really started to get into it recently, more and more, and we started chartering. And so our game plan with podcasting is to just meet as many people as possible, learn as much as we can learn. We still have, unfortunately, a year and a half before we can break free.
We have a
Mhm.
sailboat right now on a rather large lake in South Carolina. But we've just been like, we lake sail, but then we charter. So we've chartered in Belize and I'm sorry, not Bahamas, Antigua. We're doing BVI's next year.
Wow.
We did Guadeloupe for a sabbatical last
Cool.
year for like a month, and we loved it. And so we're like, okay, this is us. And then we went to Thailand for 6 weeks, and we did like a week and a half of sailing
Yeah,
there, which was so epic. I loved it.
that looked
So
awesome.
that's
Yeah,
kind
we
of
saw
where,
some of your photos.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. So we're trying to get more and more into it, and so I think what we want to do with the podcasting is just learn as much as we can learn from other sailors, and then hear their
Cool.
stories, and then that helps us, and it helps everybody listening as
Yeah.
well. What I find most valuable when I listen to podcasts about sailing is, every podcast I listen to, I glean a little bit more information that's helping me to like figure out, how to go, where to go, and things like that. So that's what I was kind of trying to get out of these podcasts is to share with the larger community that either hasn't gone out there yet or is out there and just was like interested in, where should we go? What are some cool things to see? What are your favorite
Mhm.
recipes? That kind of thing. What are your favorite meals that you've had at different places? Obviously, sashimi on a boat with yellowfin tuna is the best you can best that you get.
It's
So,
really good. Yeah,
but yeah, so if you could just
cool.
introduce yourselves and talk about how you got into sailing and how long you've been sailing and what your sailboat is.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
You should go first.
Okay. Well, I'm Noelle and um 32 years old, and I got into sailing not that long ago. It was before COVID. I think it was 2019 or 2020.
19.
But it was with a
19.
little Lido 14 sailboat, so it's like a
Mhm.
little dinghy.
Sure.
And we lived in Morro Bay, so Central Coast, California. It's like right near the water, and I'd always wanted to learn to sail. I grew up in Northern California, north of San Francisco, San Rafael. And yeah, even though we were right on the water growing up, we just never sailed, and
Mm.
it was not something that we did as kids. So yeah, I bought a little Lido 14 from Craigslist and came with a trailer, and so I could drive it with my little Hyundai wagon, which is
Nice.
awesome. And Grant, he'll explain when he introduces himself, but he had more sailing background than I did, so we kind of learned on the little Lido 14 together.
Cool.
And then I like just fell in love. I just loved sailing, and I'm a surfer. I yeah, surfed my whole life, so just being on the water is always something I've loved. But yeah, and then I think I was just working a lot. Like I was a software engineer and I was teaching at the local college in the evenings. So I think, I was doing like well over 40-hour work weeks,
Mhm.
and I just was getting burnt out. And I remember turning to Grant one day and I was just like, I want to get a boat and sail. And he said, okay. And then we had our boat 2 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we're definitely crazy.
That's so great.
Yeah.
We're all a
then,
little bit crazy in the sailing community, that's for sure.
My name's Grant. Yeah, my name's Grant. I grew up in Morro Bay, 34. I sailed like little Hobie cats and little day sailors and stuff, and friends that had boats. And then around college, one of my buddies had like an Ingrid 38, so I cruised with him down to San Diego a couple weeks, and then he now has a Landfall 39, and cruised with him. So I'd done 3 or 4 longer passages, a couple like a week or 2 weeks, but I'd never done that on my own, and I never had a big boat. But I did grow up with power boats and fishing and stuff, so the ocean's no mistress to me. But sailing like big boats was pretty new because, as I've described a lot of people sailing, it's like you have a lot quicker response, but a lot quicker like uh, problems that happen with a little boat. You make a mistake and now you're upside down, but it's also a little boat, so it's like whatever.
Right.
A big boat, you have bigger problems but they react slower, and you don't have as much consequence if you're paying attention.
For those listening, could you tell us your boat, the size, the engine, things like that? Yeah, the year.
So we have a 1980 Downeaster 38 cutter. They did make a sloop rig of our boat, but most of them were cutters. There's about 300-ish made, and they were made in Southern California. They're kind of a Taiwanese built, full displacement. She's dry, like just shy of 20,000 pounds. I think the number is 19.5. it was repowered in 2006 with a Universal M40B, which is a 37.5 horsepower 4-cylinder naturally aspirated diesel.
Westerbeek.
And she has really low hours, which was cool for us because it was like 250
Yeah.
hours on the engine.
That was
And
definitely
the
a draw
Westerbeek is treating you well.
for us.
Yeah, she sips fuel,
Knock
you
on
know.
teeth.
But
And
no, we have done a decent amount of motor sailing in Mexico, unfortunately, because we were along the west coast of Baja is very vast between safe anchorages.
Mhm.
And so there was a lot of that, like, well, we'd like to surf the Seven Sisters, which is the stretch more or less south of San Quintin down to where like Cedros Island is, but on the inside of the hook. But all of those anchorages in any book is saying like, this is just like a last hope anchorage. It's kind of like good luck.
Mhm.
So we had some bigger wind coming, you know, it's like supposedly going to be, and I say supposedly because if we've learned anything, is that predictions are just predictions.
yeah, exactly. Oh no, you froze up a little bit. Are we still good?
They were jumped from
We're good.
more or less Ensenada all the way to Turtle Bay, which ended up being a lot of motoring because of the calm before the storm that never
Yeah.
actually showed up anyway.
I literally
Gotta
have
be safe with
so many questions. 1 second, real quick. Trying
Yeah,
to
no worries.
prioritize my laptop. My internet. We live way out in the woods, and our Wi-Fi sometimes is slow. So we kind of froze there, and I'm not sure if it was your side or my side. Do you guys have Starlink? How are you
Oh.
staying in touch with everybody?
We
Starlink.
do have Starlink, and it's pretty
It
good.
is a
I mean,
game changer.
I've
Really?
tried to imagine not having the ability to quickly connect or use the internet, and it would really change
Yeah.
this experience.
We are super
Probably for the
frustrated.
better in some ways.
Yeah, we're super frustrated. We live out in the woods, and when we were in Thailand, we had better internet connectivity in the middle of the Andaman
Wow.
Sea than we have where we're at right now, which is super frustrating. I have to like go into this app and prioritize this laptop and then shut everything else off. It's abysmal. But anyway, my questions. So when you were traveling down the West Coast, what were some of your favorite anchorages?
Oh gosh. Oh well, definitely the very first anchorage we stopped at was Coho, so it's in Gaviota, I think, near Santa
Yeah,
Barbara.
the point.
Exception, and I think because that was our first anchorage, it was such a milestone going around Point Conception. So we were like on a high
Yeah.
and excited. And then also the surf was like amazing, and I love to surf. So, and you could jump off your boat and go paddle into the surf, which is like what I dream of. So definitely that one. And then actually our last anchorage was in Santa Maria. And
Bahia Santa Maria.
yeah, Bahia Santa Maria. It's on the opposite side
Excuse me.
of Mag Bay. So, you know, like north of Cabo a bit, pretty far down the peninsula of Baja. And again, I just love jumping off the boat and going to surf. And
That's
then
great.
there's great snorkeling. But yeah, we discussed like our favorite anchorages, and a lot of what determines that is like the weather, of course, but also maybe like who's there. Are there even any other boats there? Because we spent so much of the first leg of our 2 months sailing just kind of by ourselves at the Channel Islands. There wasn't a lot of other boats, which was great. That's also what you dream of, but we kind of got lonely a bit. and Grant's like really extroverted and I'm a little more introverted, but I was even like, okay, yeah, I miss friends.
Yeah,
Aw.
something was up when Noelle was saying we should probably go meet everyone we can.
Yeah.
I love the sailing community for the people that you meet. Every time we've chartered, anytime we've gone for any distance or any time, we've met so many wonderful people. And like when we were in Guadalupe
nice.
last year, and people were so welcoming that we were on shore, and this older couple had this catamaran. They're like, "Why don't you just come on over?" We're like, "Really? We do that?
Yeah.
Like you just invite people over?"
Yeah.
And we went over
Totally.
and we spent the evening hanging out with them, and we still talk with them now. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. The community is so wonderful and warm. I love that about that.
Totally is.
So
Yeah,
so you're about the age, you're in that good age group where maybe you've joined the Young Cruisers Association. Have you joined that?
we have not like joined it literally, but Yeah,
We should.
we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about them is we're not of that age group, but actually their motto is it doesn't matter how old you are as long as you're of that mindset, which I think we are. But
Yeah.
we joined it when we were in Guadeloupe, and we looked on the map, and they have like it shows where everybody is, so you can actually like connect with people and hook up with them and
Yeah.
make friends like easily through that as well. And then you got like common backgrounds and everything like that. So that's really cool. I'd highly recommend it. Just just get on the app and like look around and see who's around you. And then there's always like meetups and things like that. I'm not like
Yeah.
trying to promote them because I'm actually that
No, totally. But we
with
actually
them,
are
but
on.
it's so great.
Yeah, we're on No Foreign Land, which is
Oh,
another app.
Yep. Uh-huh.
I mean, I think most cruisers are on there, so we can kind of see like where our friends are, and
That's cool.
yeah, similar.
That's
Yeah,
so
where's
cool.
your favorite anchorage?
I think my favorite anchorages so far in California in the Channel Islands was Coches Prietos, which was just
Yeah.
like a cool little sandy beach tucked into this little cove, and it faces south, so it's sunny most of the time. But
Nice.
it was nice weather when we were there, right? If it wasn't nice weather, I don't know if I would have said the same. And then in Mexico so far, it was the first anchorage that we stayed in Mexico, which is just outside of Ensenada, is Isla Todos Santos, which it's a very small little anchorage that I think that most people probably skip now because the guidebooks.
It froze on probably my end. Could you
Okay.
you're about to say about the anchorage, the guidebooks,
Yeah,
something about the guidebooks?
Yeah, Isla Todos Santos, which is like 10 miles outside Ensenada. The guidebooks portray it as having all these fish pens and it kind of like tight, which is totally accurate now. There's even more fish pens than the most recent cruising guide that we have, which was 2019.
Oh, wow.
Doable to get in there, but definitely a 1 boat or 2 boat little anchorage. You're in this cathedral that's maybe the walls
really
are like 30 or 40 feet tall, like 3 sides of you.
Mm.
And you actually stern tie to shore so that you can keep yourself from swinging. And it was just super cool. We showed up there, only boat. It's like glassy calm.
Dinghy passage.
There's a little passage for when you go to shore. You kind of take the dinghy through this little maze of rocks, not like scary, but like a little canyon, and then you end up on this little pebble stone beach, which you can land, which is super cool.
That's awesome. Did you capture that on the YouTube channel? Can we all go and see that?
Yeah, it was actually up the latest upload, which was yesterday. I don't know. What is it? It was a couple days ago. Episode 53.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. We'll check it out, and everyone listening will check it out. Very cool. That's so neat. So I heard on your last podcast, you, Noel, speak Spanish, it seems. You were offering you got like a 6-pack or something. The fisherman delivered some beer for you in exchange for some sunglasses that you gave him, Grant.
I'm so flattered that you think I speak Spanish. It's so bad. Grant actually speaks it much, much better than I do, but I try. I like my favorite sentence is "No hablo español, pero trato," which is I don't speak Spanish, but I try.
Cool.
And usually then everyone is like, okay, I'll wait and try to understand what you're saying.
That was so cool. Fast.
Yeah, everyone is so nice in Mexico. There was a guy that was the driver of the pongueros, so he just literally just waited on shore for the pongueros, which is the fishermen, to come back and forth to be done with their day of fishing.
He'd shuttle them like to the pongas with their little rowing dinghy, and I think he'd stay with the truck or the van, and they would also take the day's catch back. So he was just one of the guys that was on shore, but he offered. We were talking about like, oh, is there a restaurant? And he's like, no. And then he's like, but I've got the connections. And so we realized that we not that you need it, but you want it. We didn't really get any Tecates or Pacificos or anything when we left Ensenada.
Because we were like, we're not going to drink underway, which we don't. But
we were running out of time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, oh, a 6-pack would be nice when we hit these anchorages to have a beer or two in the afternoon when we're not doing anything.
Sure.
So he did, he offered to get us some from the store that evening and return the next morning when he came for work. So he did.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a good topic to talk about. Do you guys have like a favorite like drink that you do, like sundowner drink? Or is there like a mixologist that you like, or anything? Like, what's your basic go-to?
Yeah. So
Noel's favorite tool. or
Yeah, thank you.
luxury,
So I got
which
to
is
bring one luxury
only
item, one luxury item onto the boat, and it was the Soda Stream,
Oh
which
yes.
I barely even used at the house,
Yeah.
but I just knew if we were not going to be drinking that I would want like a special drink kind of in the evenings. Not that anyway, so I brought the Soda Stream. So I actually love to grate ginger and even jalapeno, and I put it in the Soda Stream with just water.
Ooh, nice.
And then I make that bubbly water and I add it to tequila and we have like a stock of agave nectar on board. So I do a little agave, and then limes here are so cheap.
Oh yeah.
And they're so delicious. Like you can eat them just raw, like fresh lime, because it's so good and sweet.
Yeah.
So, and I'll squeeze lime into it. And it's like a margarita, but that's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I commented on your last video. You were shopping in the store, and it was like limes were like pennies on the dollar. And I commented like, buy them all, and all the avocados too.
I know, it's so great.
Yeah, and when you first go to the store, you have to have that moment of like, wait, we're not in the United States, so everything's in kilograms.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, I have to convert
the metric system that gets you every time.
Yeah, I have to go to dollars, and then I have to go to pounds, because that's what we're used to.
Right, the U.S. is weird and has to be the only one in the
I tease my friends because we've started now. Everything is now like meters. When we're like, we've converted. I guess we're in 10 meters of water.
That's right.
Which is good.
It's a hard one. Like my brain has to switch over all the time when we're sailing. Like we were in Guadeloupe, which is French, and it's like, all right, like everything's in meters. All right, remember meters, and then I gotta go like 3 feet to a meter. All right, 3 feet, and then I gotta do that conversion real quick. Grant, what's your favorite drink, Grant?
Yeah, if it's just a hot day, in a Tecate or Pacifico, and I do like a touch of lime in it.
I hear you.
Super simple,
Grant's a simple guy.
Yeah.
Noel's the mixologist, so I pretty much, we'll have. We did have just some of the like canned juice from Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Hugo.
We'll do a splash of
and that just we mixed it up.
Yeah.
Whether it's a little mango flavored, but
I'm starting to doubt that you speak Spanish. That didn't sound very strong to me.
Yeah, he is actually really good. He gets told all the time he has a great accent.
I tell everyone when I speak Spanish, most of the time it's like hablo español pero como un bebé, like
a baby.
And I always tell them I only speak in the present tense, and the past tense I will refer to past tense by saying en el pasado, and then I'll speak present tense.
That's right.
Or in el futuro, and then present tense. I remember all the conjugations from learning high school, however long ago that was, like 15 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And I've lost it.
I know. But I grew up speaking Italian, and I've lost it all, and it's sad and embarrassing. And I work for a German automotive manufacturer, and I know more German than Italian, and that's like my brain is all so screwed up when I start translating anything. And so then like having known Italian, I try to speak Spanish when I'm with and it's like, wow, it's so fast when they speak, I can't keep up, and it's such a struggle. I hear you.
Yeah, I grew up speaking Italian too, and Italian is what I call, and they kind of understand.
Yeah, a little bit. If you speak a little bit, it's kind of a little bit of crossover. You can kind of get the gist of it and get the basics across for sure. So cool. Where are you from? You speak Italian. Where's the family from?
Oh, well, my nonno was from Italy, a little town outside called, oh gosh, I don't even remember. But yeah, him and his parents came over when he was, he wasn't from Italy. I think he was born in the States, but they came over when he was like a baby.
Oh, nice. Wait, where was it close to?
Rome.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, his parents moved to Santa Rosa, and they like grew some wine, and
love it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So his first language was Italian, and so then
awesome.
I picked it up during that, and then I took it in high school.
Yep. My mom is from near Naples, a small town in the mountains. And my father, his whole family came from Calabria region, which is like the tip of the boot kicking Sicily, the soccer ball of Sicily. But he was the only one born here, but his entire brother and sisters, they were all born there, all 12 of them. He was one of 12, or I guess, 11 of them were born there. It's crazy. Yeah, so just remind everyone how long you've been cruising since you left land.
Well,
what day did we leave?
Oh gosh, we're not proud of this, but we left
I am.
Friday, October 13th.
Oh no, on a
You're
Friday.
not supposed, yeah, you're not
We
supposed to
left
leave
on a Friday and Friday the 13th.
Oh no.
They negate each other.
Yeah.
That's yeah, of course.
And-
Yeah. Two negatives make a positive.
We had plans to leave the week prior, and of course, in that time, and actually, luckily, we had some solar issues, and the house bank was not charging. We found out it was just a bad or a kind of inexpensive breaker that was tripping way sooner than it should have, and it was just making all the charge controllers all angry and confused.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to get that all squared away before we left, which is nice because even in the United States, when you're in some anchorage that's somewhere and you don't have a car, and it's a lot harder to get things that you don't have.
So,
but yeah,
you left on Friday the 13th. When was that? How long ago?
oh gosh, what day is it? December 10th.
Yeah, so
Just shy of 2 months ago. So we're really new to cruising.
Oh, wow,
And-
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
so has it been
Actually,
has it been magical? Do you love it?
yes and no.
Yes and no. This is why I'm so happy that you're podcasting and also even interviewing us, solely because I remember sitting in the office for a solid year and I would listen to podcasts every day to try to like learn about sailing because I had never cruised.
Yeah.
And I did. I learned a ton, but a lot of the podcasts, they interviewed sailors that were so experienced, like salty sailors, which is so great. Like you learn a lot. But at the same time, I don't know if I was really prepared for like the beginning part of cruising.
Yeah.
Is where we're at now. And it is amazing, but it's really hard.
Yeah, tell us about that. Like tell us the good and the bad, because that's exactly why I want this podcast is for those newbies, as well as, we want to interview experienced people, but the newbies, I think so many people, go back and forth to work and they fantasize and they listen to the podcast and they want to glean what they can and they want to know what that transition period's like as well. So yeah, what's been the good and the bad? I know it's the best of times and the worst of times. So tell us about that.
Oh gosh. Well, the worst of times, I'll just start with that to get it over with. But that
paint this beautiful picture.
Well, I just want to be honest. It was definitely like the worst day of cruising, possibly the worst day of my life was that day on anchor.
Oh boy.
When we were not on anchor.
Yeah. So what is the term you use?
Jettisoned.
We jettisoned, which is, I didn't know this term. We lost our anchor and all our anchor chain in like 50, gusting over 50 knots of Santa Ana winds. So if you're not from California, Santa Ana winds are winds that come like, I think they originate like near Colorado and they go through like the canyon and are just basically really strong northeastern winds. And so we've been in strong winds on anchor, like in the Channel Islands. So we weren't like really concerned for the wind as much as the fetch that developed from the wind, because we were in Bahia Asuncion, which is somewhere down the Baja Peninsula, about a little more than halfway.
South of Tortuga.
Yeah. And the strong winds developed these waves because they went over like 5 to 10 miles of just bay. And so the waves that developed were like 4 to 5 feet, and our bowsprit was just going in the water, bucking, like hobby horsing like crazy.
Yeah, our boat's water line is only 29 feet, but it's 38 feet on deck, and then we got a bowsprit and davits, so it's like we're pushing 47 feet long, but we got 29 feet at the water line. So this boat has a little tendency to hobby horse pretty good. And so you want to continue?
Yeah. Okay. So we were sitting fine. We were waiting out the strong winds. We were doing fine. And that was like for an hour. And then all of a sudden we started to feel like even stronger gusts. And we were hearing on the radio, there's 14 boats in the anchorage total. And we were hearing on the radio, like some husbands had left to go to the store and their wives were left on the boats alone. And they were like radioing them. So when you go to shore, they typically bring a handheld radio. And so they could then radio the big boat to their wives. And they're like, okay, this is what you do. And, I think one husband even had to explain how to turn the engine on to his wife. Yeah. So luckily Grant and I weren't in that boat. Like we were feeling good. Like we were both on the boat watching, and then the wind started to get stronger. Grant had been going up to the bow to check on the snubbers, and then I think I walked up there, and at that moment we were both standing on the bow and one snubber broke, and then we were like, okay, we have a ton of road. We even have extra anchors on board. Not even, like, you definitely want to have extra anchors on board. So we were like, okay, let's rig up another snubber. And then within that minute, the other snubber broke.
Oh,
And
man.
because of like the extra chain through the snubber, it kind of bounced off the windlass and just went flying off the bow. Like,
Whoa.
just the whole chain flying off the bow. And then learning lesson for us is our chain wasn't connected to anything on the boat because we were doing a project earlier that day. We made a mistake.
I had
and like
parted the chain from the road in the locker to do some work, because as a lot of people will like pile up. So our bow on the inside was super rough fiberglass. So I was trying to make it smoother so that the chain would like slide deeper into the locker on its own.
Gotcha.
So I had parted the two, put the remainder of the chain we had on the deck, and left the road down in the lower locker. And then all this happened, and
Grant was up.
Hindsight is hindsight. You should never leave your boat without having a definitive connection to the boat with the end of your anchor.
You know, it could have been a blessing in disguise. Like, we've heard from other sailors that when that's happened, sometimes the chain is moving so fast with so much power off the boat, and your boat is also drifting back, that it could like rip your windlass off, or like it could bowsprit. Like, we don't know if that could have happened, but either way, it happened. Like, the chain was
crazy
off the boat, and like it was the longest probably 3 seconds of our life. Grant was trying to get the chain back on the windlass.
I stupidly tried to grab the chain to throw it on the gypsy, which beat me up, and that's the fingers, like lose your fingers scenario, which there was someone in the anchorage that last year actually lost a finger to their windlass. So we heard about that the next day, after I'm like bruised and battered and all cut up, and they're like, oh well, at least you didn't lose a finger. And I'm like, I knew I could have, which a couple big learning lessons is, if it's that weird and messed up and you're bucking like that, start the engine and have it running. We didn't, but luckily our engine, being relatively new and low hours, fires right up. But should have had it at least running, if not gently motoring into it, to take a little bit of strain off of that anchoring system. Because so you're going to be up anyways, because the weather is going to keep you up, and you're going to be wanting to check your gear, and so you're at an idle pushing into it a little bit. You're going to burn half a gallon an hour maybe for 12 hours, or it's not worth saving the diesel or the strain on your engine to then potentially lose your boat onto the rocks.
So then when we lost the chain, Grant went running back. I've never seen him run so fast, back to the engine, turned it on. And he was a firefighter before this, so I feel like that firefighting skill just came out. You're just like, okay, fight or fight mode. Like, Noel, hop on the radio, tell people we're underway, we lost our anchor, because we're surrounded by boats, and they're all losing their snubbers too. Like, it wasn't just us. And then he just motored around, and we got on the radio, and like within minutes, everyone is contacting us saying, we have extra this, like, just coming to our rescue.
They're the
like,
best, aren't they? The sailing community is the best.
I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, well, how am I going to even get any of this stuff if I need it? Our dinghy's still in the water, so we're trailing it. So I'm like, but then I'm thinking I have to leave Noel on the boat, not connected to anything in this, and the weather it was shifting.
Well, that is what we did. He hopped in the dinghy, and he met another sailor halfway who hopped in a dinghy, gave us more chain, which is another learning lesson. We didn't have any extra. We
just didn't have enough for a secondary.
We have a ton of extra road and extra anchors, but not extra chain, because I don't know if that's common, but
it is. It's just we
have extra.
Foresight, right? I was like, where am I going to put all this extra chain? Even if you don't think you have the space, having the experience now of not really having adequate ground tackle and only being saved because the other cruisers in the anchorage pulled it one together for us, made me realize that it's like, give up something else to have that security of
that's great.
Some extra chain, and it can be a little light, and but if you're on your secondary system, you probably have had something happen, which means you're probably going to have to be on a better watch and maybe motor into it like we talked about or whatever. But not having anything, what's your option? Just go out.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay. I think we froze.
No problem. So you were talking about the anchor chain and having extra, making sure you have extra, and make room if you don't have room for that because they're important.
Yep.
Because even if you don't need it, if you're the person that's in that scenario where your neighbor needs it, you're gonna feel so much better about yourself.
For sure.
Like, I've got this to give you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I didn't really catch it. Like when the chain went flying off how were you able to grab it or hold it and not lose it into the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, we did.
Oh, we did lose it.
Oh, how did you, what was the finger thing?
I'm trying to grab it, and like
Oh,
slamming my fingers.
Oh, no.
The chain's dragging it towards the bowsprit, towards the catwalk on the bowsprit, and I'm getting I don't want to relive it.
Were you ever able to retrieve it? Did you ever able to dive on it and get it?
Yeah, so that's another learning lesson, but we lucked out. So I now always drop a waypoint when we set the anchor.
Oh yeah.
We lucked out because I had tracks running from when we sailed in, and we sailed right in, dropped the hook, and drifted back. So there was just like a check mark in our track. So I knew more or less where the anchor was.
Yeah.
But I hadn't actually put a waypoint.
But he had all these cuts on his hands, and I was like, "You can't get in the water. Like, you can get."
So the next day,
yeah,
we got in the water. People in the anchorage like, "Oh, we'll help you." We were in 25 feet of water. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you were able to retrieve it then. That's fantastic.
Well, so Noelle ended up. We got in the water. We weren't going to be like, so you guys are coming over to get in the water before we do. So we had started, and of course, real casually, Noelle gets in the water, and she's like, "Oh, it's right here."
Yeah.
She's not ecstatic. She's not yelling and screaming. She's like, "Oh, it's right here."
I'm like more excited when I see fish, I think. But yeah.
I'm ecstatic going, well, we have a way to like connect ourselves to the bottom again. That's nice.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So being newer cruisers, do you have any really good tips for new people getting into it, thinking about doing this lifestyle?
Yes. I think we both agree. We talked about this the other day. Like, we bought walkie-talkies the day before we left.
I saw you using that. I was going to make a comment.
Yes.
I love your use of walkie-talkies when you're anchoring. That was so brilliant.
I used to I'm not proud of this, but like kind of make fun of people like when they came in on their mega yachts into Morro Bay and they used their walkie-talkies. And I remember like laughing, but we decided to get some. We had like REI gift card money and we bought like a $30 pair of walkie-talkies. It is such a game changer. Like before, I think we would have been like shouting at each other across the boat.
I mean, nothing's better than seeing couples yelling at each other on their bow of their boats when they're anchoring. That's pure entertainment for everybody else in the anchorage.
I know. But just to keep morale up and, it's like, Mexico, you always have to keep an eye out for lobster pots too. So even just me on the bow watching out, like I'll have the walkie-talkie just saying, hey, go to port, go to starboard, like there's a lobster pot. So that is something we recommend highly.
But as far as like the prep thing goes, there's all these things, and and in today's world, especially people our age, you're gonna YouTube everything, you're gonna like Google everything before you've even left. So you're gonna have this really long list, assuming you're like outfitting a boat yourself, and you're not made out of money, which some people have the luxury. There's gonna be things that you think you need, and then you don't. You don't need it. Like I thought we needed air conditioning because I wanted to keep my sanity when we were getting to Mexico. So I have the parts. I think I have all the parts to put together a simple 12-volt air conditioning unit. But I probably will never put it together realistically, just because there's other projects
really far into the tropics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's other things like people go without a water maker, but we have one. And
I'm so grateful we have a water maker. Our boat, sorry to interrupt you, but like our boat is really old and it doesn't look modern. Like it's an old salty sailboat, but we have a water maker, and I would so rather that than like any fancy newer sailboat, because it prevents you from having to like go to other anchorages and go to the dock to fill up, and it's just such a luxury out here.
But not to say that you can't do it without a water maker. It's totally possible. And one of my thoughts was, if we have a water maker, we'll be able to like support other people that don't, and maybe like they'll be like, come over to dinner, and we'll be like, cool, bring your jugs over, we'll make it 6 or 12 gallons or whatever you want,
which we've done.
Awesome.
So
I've seen
But
some people do ice makers too as a hey, come on over, I'll give you
uh,
some ice. That would be
yeah.
nice.
yeah.
Jennifer loves ice in her drinks. Her favorite drink is but the soda stream, back to the soda stream thing. She loves our soda stream and she makes a soda with she does a botanical vodka. I think it's Kettle One and it's like something in rose.
Oh,
And she loves it. It's just soda water and that vodka botanical. And but the thing is she loves ice. So it's like, all right, now we got to figure out how
yeah,
to get an ice maker on our boat.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess like my biggest thing with just making suggestions to any newbies is definitely just expect the hard part. Expect it to be hard. Like I threw out my back 5 days into sailing
Oh, wow.
because like, and I don't know if throwing out my back is a little dramatic, but anyway, I hurt my back and I was like in pain and it just kind of ruined a lot of the first few weeks because I couldn't help Grant. So just yeah, be easy on yourself and have patience. The night passages are a lot harder than I expected.
Yeah.
Because you're just up and don't sleep and you're kind of
What is
everything is a little.
what's your shift model? Do you guys do like 3 on, 3 off, or?
We started out doing like 2 to 3 hours on and off, but then we realized that we're not getting like any sleep because by the time you get into bed and like finally fall asleep, it's like an hour. So
Yeah,
now we're doing more like 5 to 6 hour shifts.
gotcha.
But we haven't done long enough passages for it to really get rolling where it's like during the day you're even doing those swing shifts. So far it's daylight hours, we're still both up, and then the night.
Hey, sorry, so sorry. Hey, I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. It's so fun, isn't it?
I don't work, so I don't on any schedule.
Thank you so much for being so flexible and so understanding. And again, this goes back to the sailing community. Everyone is so wonderful and helpful, and it's just such great people, and that's what we love about it.
Really?
So
yeah, and actually, Grant had to just leave because our buddy boat, their outboard isn't starting, so he's gonna go help.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Again, sailing community helping each other out. I love it. Where exactly are you right now? Where's your current location?
We are in Magdalena Bay, so it's our next stop would be Cabo. So we're at the very like southern tip of the Baja Peninsula.
Right. So is that your plan? Are you going around the tip and then up into the Sea of Cortez, or where are you headed?
Well, we were gonna do that, but now we are thinking to jump over to mainland Mexico and then head down towards Puerto Vallarta.
Nice.
And then that's the only plan we have. And as we've learned, it's impossible to have plans.
Right. Don't make plans too far out. What are your dreams? Like, what do you guys want to do eventually? Cross the Pacific, or do you want to go? Okay, yeah, that's the plan. Get down to Galapagos and heads further south from there.
Yeah, actually, we have 2 dogs, so the Galapagos may not be an option. Or if we do, we're gonna have to like bring them to our parents' house or something. Right. But yeah, long-term goal is definitely to cross over to the Marquesas.
My internet. Oh, there you are.
Oh,
it paused again. It got back.
Could be mine. Water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Starlink has been pretty good though overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's nights where we just watch Netflix and I'm just like, are we on a boat? Like
I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah, we're honestly thinking of getting Starlink here at the house, which is so ridiculous that we can't get like better internet. And we're not even that far from civilization. I mean, we live on a pretty big lake in South Carolina, but it's like we are right next to like major metropolises. We're not that far away, and yet we have like 10 megabytes per second, which is insanity. I mean, so we actually looked into Starlink. We might actually get Starlink at the house just to have a better internet connection.
We actually have faster internet with Starlink than we did at our house in Central Coast.
So yeah. Do you ever are you ever anywhere where you don't get signal? Like we're worried. We kind of live like we're up on a hill, but there's a lot of trees around, and it's like we're worried that like without full coverage. Do they say like how much coverage you need for that, or how much viewable sky you need to have?
You can tell if there's an obstruction. Like you can do like a test, and then you can move it and find the best location. So we haven't had any issues with obstruction because we'll just move it, but we don't get it when we're like offshore more than like miles.
Yeah, offshore, I mean, you got full coverage, but I guess like with the boom maybe being in the way or sails or anything like that.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah, sometimes boom, and we tend to swing the boom when we're on anchor anyways, so our solar panels will get the most light, the most sun. And actually it's crazy the difference if you tilt, and we put our panels on a tilt, so as long as the boom's out of the way, we can, and also we can well, we have 2 sets of solar panels, one above our Dodger, so we do move the boom so that we get full sun. And then our solar panels on the stern, on the davits, they tilt, and the amount of difference in like solar power that we get from just being like directly facing the sun versus flat is pretty crazy.
Oh, that's
like,
amazing.
Yeah. Like we'll get like 7 amps versus like 20 if we tilt them. Maybe
So do you have a full lithium hookup? Is that what you're running? Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, that's something for newbies to learn about as much as you can about electrical systems and battery systems and solar and all that.
Yeah, and I'm still learning because Grant's like wheelhouse, but I know a bit. And yeah, we just knew that when we left, we didn't want to be like solar sticklers. Like we wanted to have enough because I was thinking of maybe doing remote work if possible, and so we just wanted to have like a lot. And the water, we make 40 gallons an hour, but it also like a lot of amp hours.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize that it took so much power to do the water making. I guess that makes sense though.
Yeah, every water maker is different, but ours I think takes like 140 amps.
Yeah.
A lot. Like our friends on the boat next to us only takes like 30 amp hours. That's a big difference.
The other thing I noticed that you have is I think I saw in one of your videos that you have a wind vane. Is that right for steering?
Yeah, we have the Aries wind vane. We just mounted, haven't like plumbed it is what Grant likes to call it yet, because we just haven't had to use it because we have autopilot. But based off the podcast, I had heard that the #1 instrument that sailors recommend is like autopilot or like a backup autopilot. And so I kind of just with the recommendation of those sailors, and I was like, we should have a backup autopilot because it's going to suck if our pilot goes out because it is so old. And after for 2 months, the autopilot is so nice. Otherwise, you'd have to be at the wheel, like fully focused the entire sail, which you should anyway. Sometimes you want to just like kick back and relax and eat lunch and not have to be like handling the helm. So yeah, we have the backup autopilot ready just in case our electric autopilot fails.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Yeah, redundant systems is critical for sure. What the other question I wanted to ask was, do you have any favorite recipes that you make on the boat? Any kind of favorite foods or things like that?
Grant and I talked about it the other day, and I think our favorite food, well, obviously like besides fresh fish and like we caught a lot of lobster at the Channel Islands, and that was really, like we got so much that we started to make lobster mac and cheese, which a lot of people just want to taste the lobster on their own, but we had a lot, and we were so fortunate that I started to make lobster mac and cheese, which was so good. But we really like tuna nachos, like the yellowfin sashimi, like seared tuna nachos. It's kind of nice to have like a homey meal that just is like comfort food because it is such a new world that we live in now that like I don't mind like having nachos or like a grilled cheese, like something comfort. But oh, sorry, hang on, that's our buddy boat. 1 second.
No problem. No problem.
Oh, you guys knew when the boys were taking off.
Oh, yeah. So
I'll talk to Joe. He got the outboard started, but it's not really staying running in low gear. Trying to play with.
So we just started buddy boating, which has like been so fun. So we like
that's awesome.
The boat us to make plans. So
oh, that's fantastic. That's so fun. I love that.
I'll check with him.
Yeah. But anything fresh fish, and that's Grant's favorite thing about cruising too, is like going to spearfish and catch fish and like making substance like table fare for us, and then also like feeding other cruisers and having
fresh, instead of fresh farm to table, it's fresh ocean to table food. What I think a lot of new people probably wonder, like, how do you prepare meals underway? Like, do you have stuff pre-prepared, or do you actually cook underway, or how do you do that?
I'm pretty fortunate that I don't get seasick very often. I do get seasick in the galley when there's like really short wave interval periods. But so I actually do like a lot of prepping as some of the other friends that I've met. But leftovers are huge, and we'll just like put Tupperware and put them in the fridge and like have them ready. But I know like making rice and just having that prepared to like quickly add like some sauteed vegetables and, you know, teriyaki sauce or whatever too. That's like a really easy go-to. Yeah, I don't really do a lot of prepping. I probably should. But
That's funny.
actually, my favorite thing as far as food is I've canned my own tuna, which I was really stoked on. Yeah, so we, like I was mentioning, we caught a lot of yellow, not a lot, but we caught yellowfin tuna up in northern Mexico.
Yeah.
And we had so much of it, I was like, I don't want it to go to waste. So I cubed it up, and I have the Instapot on board, which does draw of amp hours. It uses a lot of power, but what's cool is that it only uses power up until it's getting to high pressure, and then after that it goes down. So it's really so yeah, I just put them in really sterile, clean mason jars, and I canned my own tuna. So now we make like tuna sandwiches.
That is so awesome. What a great idea. That's a great tip as well. It sounds like you have a lot of really cool little like toys and gadgets. What's your favorite cool toy and gadget? Like, what would you recommend maybe that people will definitely look into getting before they go as well?
Oh, you should get this. For any like maybe women listening that are like guys too. This is a handheld like Makita.
Yeah, it's a handheld like shop vac or like a dustbuster kind of vac. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened there. It paused again. You were holding up the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, so it's an 18 volt. It has the same batteries as all our power tools. So it's like the Makita. So if you have like Makita tools, oh, sorry, hang on, that's the radio. 1 second.
No problem.
Hey, Raka, this is Mundial. Grant just went to shore to put the fins on the outboard. Just wanted to let you know.
Roger, thanks. I think he said that's probably going to take half an hour or so.
Yep.
Sounds good.
I'm still learning how to use the radio and like make calls.
I'm totally living vicariously through you guys right now. I think that's just so awesome what you're doing.
Yeah, it's been really fun buddy boating. I highly recommend it. You just feel so cool. Night passages too, just because actually everything that happened to a buddy boat of ours, the Committed Sardine, they were night sailing about a few nautical miles behind us, and they said that he was on watch and he just looked over and he saw a ponga full of 4 guys, no lights, staring at him about 30 feet. So that's 10 meters from his boat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he just he didn't know what to do. So he got his radio and he just radioed. There was 3 of us. He radioed the boat in between us. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm coming up on your stern, or I'm coming up on you. Just to let them know, like, we're numbers. I think they were checking on their lobster pots, maybe.
Hey.
Hi, sorry about that. I think Starlink disconnected.
No, not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. It's challenging with both of us being where we're at. Not a problem. Just 2 last questions maybe, and we can wrap it up. And one question though, before I get to the final wrap up, I think I saw you wearing a sweatshirt that said "Anti-Yacht Club, Yacht Club." Is that right?
Yeah.
Explain that.
I wish I could say I made it, but it's actually I don't actually watch a ton of YouTubers, but I do watch a select few. And James from Sailing Tritea, I watch his YouTube channel, and I bought one of his sweatshirts, and that was his. And so
I love it. All right.
Supporting other creators.
That's really cool. That's funny.
Yeah.
We'll direct people that way too. Okay, so thank you so much for this. This has been so cool. I can't wait to put this together and put it out there for everyone to see and hear and share. Where can people find you? How do they get in touch with you or get in contact with you, and where do they follow you?
Sure. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Sailing Mundial. Mundial, Mundial. It means world in Portuguese. Did we?
Okay. It paused. We're good now. Explain what you said, that Sail Mundial means something in Portuguese.
Mundial is the name of our boat. We did not change the name of our boat just because the last boat we had, we did that and the mast came toppling down. So yeah, I'll take all the good luck I can get. So Mundial means worldly in Portuguese.
Worldly.
We think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Sailing Mundial is our YouTube name.
Oh, cool. So people can find you on YouTube on Sail Mundial. And do you have a website? Oh, sorry?
Sailing Mundial.
Sailing Mundial. Perfect. We
Yep.
got it. And then a website or Instagram and whatnot?
No website. We're on Instagram. You can message us. Yeah.
That's how I found you. I think it's SV Mundial, right? Or
Oh, is it? Gosh, I don't even know. Let me check.
it's okay. I'll definitely put it in the show notes. And I'll maybe do a little talk over at the end and let people know where to find you.
Cool.
But this has been so great. Thank you so
Yeah.
very, very much. Can't wait to share this with the world. And I know someday, as it goes, we'll meet up on the water somewhere, someplace. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Our goals are to get out there, and I think what's going to determine it for us is where we buy our boat. Where the best boat we can get. We're not opposed to going to the Mediterranean and sailing across the Atlantic into the Caribbean, or starting the Caribbean and head west, but we want to do it all. So I have a feeling someday, somewhere, we'll all meet up again on the water. So
Cross paths.
yep, hopefully. Well, anyway, thank you, and safe travels, and I wish the best for you, and I'll be following you, and I hope you get to the Pacific. I know you'll get there, and it's going to be an epic adventure, and I'm so excited for you guys.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's a wrap. That was so much fun talking with Grant and Noelle, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please check them out. Follow them on Instagram. Check out their YouTube channel, Sailing Mundial, and check us out too, sailingprimabarcavela.com. And looking forward to doing this more. I've got 2 more lined up this week. I'm going to post those over the next few weeks, so check back. And this is awesome. Having a good time with this. A lot of fun. Talk to you all soon. Thanks. Bye.